Yes. Good afternoon.
So I want to take a step back and just talk a little bit about your responsibilities in this case. So you are the lead detective from the Monmouth County Prosecutor's Office on this case, correct?
For the Colesneck incident, yes.
And there's kind of like multiple lead detectives, right?
Yes.
And specifically, we have Detective Brady was the lead detective from the Ocean County Police Department.
Ocean Township.
Ocean Township
Yes.
Police Department. And then we have Detective Zarillo, who was the lead detective from the Colts Neck Police Department.
Correct.
And you are one of the lead detectives from the Monmouth County Prosecutor's Office.
Yes, ma'am.
And you said for the Colts Neck incident, is there another lead detective for the...
Now Captain Brian Weisbrot, then Detective Weisbrot, was the lead for the Ocean Township.
Okay, so you and Detective Weisbrot were both lead detectives in this case.
Correct.
And when we're referencing the Ocean Township case, we're talking about like the arson.
Correct.
Right? But you were the lead detective. When you say Colts Neck, you're talking about, the homicides that occurred and the arson that occurred at 15 Willowbrook, right?
Yes.
At Keith's house.
Yes, ma'am.
And in addition to you and Detective Brady and Detective Zarillo and Detective Weisbrot, there were a variety of other detectives in this case that had significant responsibilities. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
And so Detective Cordoma, for example, was assigned to do the origin and cause of the fire, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And Detective Bassender was assigned to do the financial aspect of the case.
Yes, ma'am.
Detective Migliorise was assigned to do sort of like digital evidence, things
Yes.
of that nature. And then there's also Detective Hess, Detective Mahoney. They did some neighborhood canvassing and some surveillance and things like that.
Along with others, but yes.
Also, Detective Wayne Rayner, he was involved.
Yes, ma'am.
Detective Condon and Detective Tazi, Detective Sostian, Detective Miller, all of those detectives were involved,
Yes, ma'am.
as well as Detective Robert Flanagan, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And just to be clear, because we heard testimony from a fire marshal, Craig Flanagan, earlier in the case, but when we're referencing Detective Robert Flanagan, that's a different person.
Yes, ma'am.
Just same last name, but different person.
Yes, ma'am.
Right, and Detective Robert Flanagan is from your office, the Monmouth County Prosecutor's Office.
Retired, but yes.
There's also Detective Scott Valenti and Sean Murphy, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
We talked about Weisbrot, but there was a Deputy Chief Wilbert, he was involved,
Retired, but yes.
and Detective Nareth,
Beata Nareth, yes.
Detective David Sidorikis.
David Siderakis.
Okay, he was involved.
Yes, ma'am.
And Detective Kristen DeVito, William Anton, Richard Shin, and Detective Jose Cruz. Are those names familiar as being involved in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
And finally, I have a Richard, I'm not sure how to say that last name.
Broccoli?
Yes, that's the one.
Yes.
And Detective Scott Samus. They were also involved?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And, but despite all of them being involved, you were the lead detective, so that meant you were kind of in charge of the investigation, right?
I wouldn't say I was in charge. There's still a hierarchy and in order of chain of command, but
So is there someone who's in charge of you, who's calling the shots? Or when it came to this case, did you essentially decide what types of investigations to pursue and what roles people should take and what tasks people should be assigned?
well, there's definitely supervisors that assigned people certain tasks. It was, as far as who was in charge, I think there was a lot of collaboration going on as far as this investigation, because there was, like you just mentioned, there's so many people. So it was, a joint effort, but.
Okay. So who was supervising you?
So back then, my immediate chain of command was Sergeant Ed Henley,
Henley.
Lieutenant Scott Samus.
Okay. All right. So when you were conducting the investigation in this case and coordinating and collaborating with others, you would report back to them as well?
Yeah, that's fair to say, yes.
Okay. And as the lead detective, you were responsible for reviewing a lot of the material in this case, right?
I did, yes.
So that you knew what was going on, right?
Yes.
And so you reviewed things like police reports
I
and
did.
reports from other detectives, right, that were involved?
Yes.
And you reviewed, we saw some surveillance video that you reviewed, correct?
Yes.
You were familiar with some additional surveillance video from Colt's Neck. Did you review all of the surveillance video in this case?
When you say all of it, I reviewed at least portions of all the video that was collected.
Tell me if I'm wrong. I think what you're saying is other detectives, for example, if they pulled video from, let's say, a location at 27 Tilton, right, or like near that area, and they reviewed maybe hours worth of videos, but they directed you to the most relevant portions for your review. Is that what you're saying?
Both directed, and I also watched myself for relevant times.
Okay. So you watched the relevant times. You didn't necessarily watch times that weren't relevant to your investigation.
Correct.
And but you did watch surveillance videos, for example, from the area of 27 Tilton, Paul's house.
I did.
Okay. And also, did you review some of the body-worn camera footage and the motor vehicle recording footage from Ocean Township and Colt's Neck?
Portions of both, yes.
What about, you took a lot of witness statements in this case, right?
Me personally, or
You were personally involved with the taking of numerous witness statements, and you were present.
Yes.
Okay. And you also, did you review the witness statements that you were not present for?
I would say at least most of them.
Okay. And by the way, the witness statements in this case, we're a little bit familiar with them. They're the typed statements, correct?
Yes.
They're not video recorded, right?
No.
And they're not audio recorded.
No.
And it's in like a question-answer type format, right?
Yes.
And did you also review the cell phone extractions in this case?
Yes.
There were numerous cell phone extractions conducted in this case, right?
Yes.
So let's start with Susan, Marissa, and Katie. Their cell phones were extracted. Did you review their extractions?
Obviously, they're very lengthy, so at the very least, I looked at portions of them.
Portions, like maybe, like you said, more relevant portions, time frames.
Correct.
For example, the 19th and the 20th would probably be a relevant time frame in this case.
Yeah.
Of November 2018.
Yes.
And there were also cell phone extractions done for Tiffany Rivera, is that right?
Yes.
Elisa Caneiro or Bertacci. There were cell phone extractions done for Mr. Paul Caneiro and his brother Keith Caneiro.
Yes.
And also, there was a variety of Google Cloud data that was received from Keith's Google Cloud, correct?
Yes.
That was, I guess, subpoenaed from people, is that right?
CDW, or Communications Data.
It was requested by law enforcement through a legal application.
Yes, ma'am.
And there were also there's a lot of financial records in this case, right? There's like thousands of pages of financial records. You're aware of that?
I am.
Now, did you personally review those financial records, or did you just rely on Detective Bassender to kind of synthesize them and point you in the direction of what she felt was relevant?
The financial component, I relied on Detective Bassender.
Okay. And what about the physical evidence in this case? Did you like personally observe some of the, we had the opportunity to see a lot of the physical evidence in this case, whether it was a gas can or gloves or clothes, things of that nature. Did you review that evidence?
Same thing. I relied obviously on the forensic detectives to do that. Some I did witness firsthand. Some during the course of preparation or something, but every single piece, no.
So and when you say you relied on, are you referencing Detective Vogt and Detective Catalona?
Primarily, yes.
They were the, forensic crime scene detectives, right? And Vogt was the lead crime scene detective from Cold Snack, and Catalona was the lead crime scene detective from Ocean, right?
Correct.
And so they might have brought some things to your attention, but they also took a lot of photographs, correct?
They did.
So did you review a lot of the photographs in this case?
A lot.
Now, we talked about how there's a lot of detectives involved in this case from your office, right? But there's also a lot of other agencies that were involved in this case, right?
There were.
And so those include, we talked about Cold Snack Township, and we talked about Ocean Township, right?
Yes, ma'am.
But there was also, at some point, the Asbury Park Police were involved with respect to the business location when there was a search of that location, correct?
They were.
And there's also the Burlington County Prosecutor's Office was involved for a little while with respect to a phone extraction.
Correct.
Of Paul's phone, right? Also, the Monmouth County Sheriff's Department was involved to an extent.
Yes, ma'am.
And the New Jersey State Police were involved.
Yes, ma'am.
The FBI was involved at some point.
Yes, ma'am.
And the ATF, which is the Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, another federal agency, was involved.
Yes, ma'am.
And then there were many, many fire departments, right?
Many, yes.
So throughout this case, and throughout, I think, even in your report, there's reference to the investigative team in this case. Is that all-encompassing, essentially all of the people I just mentioned, or maybe a focus on some of the detectives at the Monmouth County Prosecutor's Office? Who's the investigative team?
I would agree that would be the investigative team. Anybody that had any involvement would be part of the team.
And you said it was collaborative, right? So there was a lot of meetings with each other, conferring and updating each other and talking about various aspects of what's been investigated?
Yes, at least in the very beginning, there was briefings that we would hold to meet either before or after the day to go over what was done, what needs to be done, that type of thing.
Okay. So, I want to talk a little bit about some of the things that stand out in this case that I'm going to ask you about what investigation was done.
Okay.
So, for example, we heard that about, and you interviewed, or you're aware that Jonathan Harrington and Heather Kapp were interviewed very early on in this case, correct?
I am aware that they were interviewed, yes.
Okay. And so what, if any, investigation was done to look into the two men with the baseball caps at 4:30 in the morning?
What went into it? No,
What-
that's overruled. Go ahead.
What investigation was done to look into that?
What specifically to them? I wasn't part of the investigation really at all in Ocean Township. That was then Detective Weisbrot. So as far as the specific goes, I know that they interviewed neighbors, other neighbors, the firefighters conducted their interviews, pulled their surveillance, that type of thing.
Okay. So when we talk about the surveillance, and you indicated that you reviewed the surveillance.
Portions of it, yes.
That one or yours?
Oh, this one. Sorry, that one wrong. I'm going to show you what's already been published. It's D1-101. And this is, do you recognize this is a map of the area of 27 Tilton?
I do.
Okay, so 27 Tilton would be here in like the middle of the photograph, and it's denoted as 27 Tilton, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And did you ever go to the area? You were there at some point?
I was there at some point, yes.
Okay. And you see how 27 Tilton is a U shape, right?
Yes.
Okay. And it intersects with Green Grove Road, correct?
Yes.
So the video that you saw, right, tell me if I'm wrong, was of a vehicle in the area of 27 Tilton, or originating from the driveway of 27 Tilton, and driving this way and then making a right onto Green Grove Road, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. But just to be clear, there were no surveillance videos ever obtained from this side of 27 Tilton, correct?
I don't know. There was none that I saw, and I don't know if there was any available at that time either.
Right. Well, so we have in this area at least two or three different surveillance videos from houses just on this side of the street, just on this like one road, correct?
The two that I reviewed were from there, yes.
Okay. And so, as the lead detective in this case, and I know you're saying Detective Weisbrot was the lead detective of the arson out of 27 Tilton, right? But in the bigger picture of investigating the quadruple homicide and the double arson, at any point did you say to anyone, since it's very collaborative, hey, why don't we check for surveillance video over here? Let's go door to door. Let's document it, and let's see what, if any, surveillance video we can find to see if anyone went this way from 27 Tilton at 4:30 in the morning and drove away this way at this intersection.
So I also know that there is another surveillance camera I neglected to say that I did look at, was the 19 Oxford from behind. But I also do know that there was a surveillance canvas done, as we always do, in all directions. I don't know off the top of my head to articulate which houses were checked, whether they had cameras, whether the cameras didn't show anything. I'm not that familiar with the Ocean Township canvas as far as the surveillance, but I do know that a surveillance canvas was done.
Okay. A surveillance canvas was done, and you mentioned 19 Oxford. That's right here behind 27 Tilton, correct?
Correct. I don't know specifically which house it is, but it's behind it.
It's on this side of the road, and you can see like the back of 27 Tilton, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So you're telling us that you know a canvas was done.
Yes.
Right? But there's no documentation of anywhere of anyone saying, any of the detectives, many police officers saying, okay, we went to this house, and this house, and this house, and this house, and this house. And Judge, this is what we said.
Can I see everyone, please? Unless I look better in the dark where you can't see me. So, it's better for the people in the back, they can't see me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break you for lunch now. There's one legal issue I just wanted a few minutes to discuss with the attorneys. I'm also going to be extra generous today. I'm going to extend the lunch to 1:35. It's not by much. So, but I want to be able to talk to the attorneys afterwards. We'll do 1:40. We'll come back, and then we're going to continue on until we're done with it today. Okay? So don't discuss this case. Don't do any research. And I hope you have a nice lunch. Thank you all. Okay, I'll ask for the attorneys to confer, and I'll see everybody at 1:30 so that we can get started and go over this last issue. Thank you. I know. Listen, you guys got to hold me accountable.
You got a lot to deal with. It's all good.
That's my fault. Next time I'm standing.
As long as you feel that, we're good.
So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to allow everyone to sit down before we get started. So let's just give everyone a minute. Okay, Ms. Mastellone, when you're ready.
So, I'm sorry, Lieutenant, right?
Yes, ma'am.
We left off with, we were looking at a map of the area of 27 Tilton, and we were discussing surveillance video, and I'm going to get back to that in a moment. But I wanted to first take a step back. You mentioned, and you explained that this was a very collaborative approach, right? There's a lot of different investigators handling different aspects of the case, and all of the detectives were, you guys were having meetings, and you're in contact, and you're discussing the various moving parts of this case, correct?
Yes.
And one of the things that comes with that method is information is coming in, you know, in let's say piecemeal, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on the circumstances. Sometimes you get it right away, sometimes it might come later at a briefing, you know.
Let me ask a better question. That wasn't phrased very well. So what I'm asking is this. It's not like you start the investigation on November 20th, and on November 21st, you have all of the information, all of the evidence of the day, right?
No, so,
There's ballistics, and there's arson, and there's DNA, and there's canvassing, looking for surveillance videos, there's financial aspect to the case, and so as time moves forward, more and more information is learned, correct?
yes. Sometimes information is relayed right away, sometimes I'm present for it, sometimes, you know, somebody would call, sometimes it takes a while for lab stuff. So, yeah, throughout the entirety of the investigation, you continuously learn more information.
Right, like, and for example, if you subpoena something, or you get a warrant for something, records, documents, information of some sort, maybe sometimes they respond in a day, but probably usually it takes a few weeks, or it takes a few months, or something along those lines, right?
Fair to say, yes.
And in this particular case, we're talking about November 2018, right?
Yes,
The investigation didn't stop in November of 2018, it continued, correct?
absolutely.
And it continued for several months, right?
Yes,
And even several years.
yes,
Additional information was learned in 2019, 2020, 2021 even, right?
yeah, the investigation really never stops.
It never stops, right? So more information is learned. And in this case, we know that, so when you learn information, you meaning universal you of law enforcement, the detectives, the investigation team, you're obviously relaying that information to the prosecutors, right?
Most of the time,
Who are handling the case.
yeah.
And then you know that they then relay the information to the defense, right?
That's the way I understand it works, yes.
It's the process of discovery, right?
Yes.
I mean, you're not calling me directly saying, hey, this is what we learned today, right? You're talking to them because you work in the same office, correct?
Correct.
And then it's not your job to tell me what's happening. You know that the state tells the defense, right?
Objects to relevance.
I'll allow it, not for long. Go ahead.
My only point, sir, is simply that as information is learned, you're learning it, they're learning it, and then we learn it, right?
I'm aware of the discovery process. You're correct. I don't discuss any facts or circumstances with you or information. Everything is done through the prosecutor, so yes.
Okay. And now, going back to 27 Tilton. If I could have the front table again. So we've seen this map, right? The only question I have left for you is, can you've reviewed the reports in this case, you've collaborated, right? Can you point us to any report that talks about anyone canvassing these specific houses, house by house, and what the results were, whether contact was made, whether that house had any surveillance cameras, or anything along those lines?
As I sit here, I cannot point to any specific thing other than saying that I know a canvass was done of the entire area. I can't point to any particular report as I sit here now, but I know a canvass was done of the area.
When you say you know a canvass was done, are you talking about like, you know that it was done generally? You don't know the specifics of what houses were went to and what the results were, correct?
I don't know the details of every single house that was gone to, whether they had cameras, whether the cameras showed anything or not. I don't have that information.
You don't have
as I
that
sit here.
information, but you also can't point us to anywhere where it would tell us, right?
As I sit here, no, I cannot.
Now, you said you did review the surveillance video, the relevant surveillance videos in this case, correct?
Portions of them, yes.
Okay. And so you've seen the surveillance videos of the Porsche Macan, right, leaving the driveway, right?
Yes.
And turning, as we said, right onto Green Grove Road, right?
Yes.
And then you've seen the surveillance videos where there's a car, you can't really tell exactly what kind of car it is. It's a car, 20 minutes later, arriving in the area of 15 Boulevard,
I'm going to object
correct?
to the testimonial nature of that question. You can't tell what kind of car it was. It's facts that are in evidence that are being asserted.
I'll rephrase that.
Yeah,
The
please
video
do.
was not as clear, perhaps, as the 27 Tilton video, or the videos that were taken from the area of 27 Tilton, but there's a vehicle that arrives in the area of 15 Boulevard 20 minutes later, correct?
There is a vehicle that arrived. That video is not as clear, but as I detailed in my report, the taillights are consistent with that of a Porsche Macan.
Okay. And so we're talking about a 20-minute difference, right, timeline-wise?
20 minutes being from surveillance on Green Grove to surveillance on Willowbrook.
Right, because we know from the surveillance video that the vehicle is leaving the area of 27 Tilton at approximately 2:07 a.m., right?
Correct.
And then we know that there's a vehicle arriving in the area of 15 Willowbrook or 44 Willowbrook is where we're getting surveillance video from, at approximately 2:27 a.m., correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So, but what we don't have is any videos, any surveillance videos that would follow the car from point A to point B, correct?
The only other video that we have is that 85 Willowbrook down the street, but between that, we do not have video.
When you say 85 Willowbrook, you're talking it's right down the street from 15 Willowbrook, right?
Down the street, yes.
But we don't have any video in between, so we don't know, for example, the exact route that the car traveled, right?
The exact route, no.
We don't know if the car stopped anywhere, correct?
When I did the presumed route, or possible route, I should say, it was 20 minutes. Basically, it was 20 minutes between point A and point B, meaning Tilton and Willowbrook. And that's the time from 2:07 to 2:27. So timing-wise, it's consistent. with
You
the vehicle
personally
not
drove the
stopping.
route, is that what you're saying?
I did not personally drive the route.
Oh, okay, so what are you referencing when you say it's approximately 20 minutes?
As I detailed in my report, I went on Google Maps and did a route from 27 Tilton to 15 Willowbrook.
Okay, we know from real life experience, sometimes it could be faster, sometimes it can be slower, correct?
Yeah, it's approximately 20 minutes.
Right. So what we don't know is whether the car, for example, was speeding, right? And maybe got there, maybe it only took 17 minutes, but it stopped for 3 minutes. That's my point, is we don't know what exactly happened from point A to point B, correct?
No, it's an approximation.
Right. And we don't know if the vehicle stopped and someone got in the car or anything like that, or out of the car. We don't have that information.
Sustained.
So, with respect to surveillance video at 15, the area of 15 Willowbrook. Oh, yeah, I think I can. Oh, yeah. I'm going to show what's been published as it's D1-317. Okay, so the video that we have of the vehicle arriving in the area of 15 Willowbrook, right? When the vehicle arrives at approximately 3:27 or so in the morning, it's driving from the
227.
Oh, I'm sorry, 227. Yes, from 227 from the right side of the screen to the left side of the screen, correct?
Arriving from the right side of the screen to the left. Yes,
It's going from right to left.
correct.
And is that east to west, or is that
Would be
west to east?
East to west.
It's going east to west. Okay. And when what you don't see is the vehicle pulling into the driveway, correct?
No, ma'am.
And so the vehicle goes past the driveway, right?
Yes.
Okay. And the vehicle, we don't know where it goes after that, right?
There was no surveillance on the further west of the property. 44 Willowbrook is where the surveillance stopped.
Right. So, we don't know if the vehicle stopped on the side of the road here. We don't know if it pulled into this driveway. We don't know if it kept going. We just don't know.
Well, based on the review of the 867, I didn't see any lights up towards the driveway. Again, the video doesn't get clear, but I also didn't see any lights up towards that way. So, I don't.
Which video are you referring to?
867 Route 34.
Okay, yeah. Let's look at 867. You can just leave. So this is a still frame of the 867 view, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And what are we looking at exactly? We're looking from the direction of the 867 structure toward Willowbrook, and that's the gate that you were referencing?
So that's the gate. So 15 Willowbrook would be more or less in the top. I'm looking at the screen, the top right, and that would be the driveway, and it would start, but it would go more towards the northwest direction, so up and towards the left of the screen.
So I guess what I'm asking is, I'm just going to hold this up. May I approach?
Of course.
Okay, so we're looking at this map here, right? And this is 867.
That's a barn that's on the property, but yes.
Where's 867? Is it
The actual
Here?
residence is down.
down
further.
more? Okay. And this here is the long driveway that comes down from Willowbrook Road, correct?
Correct.
So what, the view that we're seeing,
Up the driveway, basically.
okay, but we can't see this long driveway on that video, correct?
No,
Okay, and the angle is facing this way, is what you're saying?
correct.
Up? Is the gate visible here, or is it down further?
The gate would be right about there.
Here.
Correct.
Okay. And it doesn't, correct me if I'm wrong, but it doesn't appear that we can see too far past that gate, right?
No, I wouldn't be able to tell how far past that gate you can see.
Okay. Did you get a daytime view by any chance?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so you only have the nighttime view.
Correct.
Okay. So I'm gonna. Actually. Before we unplug that, can we capture that?
This is not marked? Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, we just pulled up the video.
That's fine. So, all right, so we're going to mark this. Mr. Murray, what's your next exhibit? Do you know?
So this is going to be a photo exhibit.
Yeah.
This is going to be D1-421.
All right. So just so that we're on the same page here, can you circle where the gate is? Okay. And do you know where specifically the camera was located on the property?
Can you bring that up a little bit? It's my understanding that it was,
Hold on, wait. Circle that gate again. And then let me see if I can zoom out.
it was on the barn to the left that you barely see at the top there.
Okay. Can you just put like an X where you think the camera is approximately? Okay. And so if a vehicle pulled into this little side, this like right here in the beginning of that driveway, we can't see that on the video that we just saw, correct?
I don't know if you would be able to see it. If a vehicle pulled straight down, I don't know without seeing a car do that whether or not I could see it.
Okay. You don't know whether, looking at that frame that we just saw, you'd be able to see a car like here at the entrance of this driveway?
No, without having anything to reference, I wouldn't be able to say you could or couldn't see it.
Okay. And you never got a daytime view to see what exactly you could see?
No, ma'am.
All right, so that is 317.5. Lieutenant, do you mind just undoing that? Thank you, sir.
By the way, if you keep going left, I think you testified about this on direct, but maybe like a little bit further down, there's, you could make a left onto 34?
Left or right, but yes.
Left or right? Okay. But if you made a left, you'd be going back toward Ocean Township.
I don't know if I would say that.
Didn't you get surveillance video from a BP gas station?
Yes.
Okay. And the purpose of getting the surveillance video from the BP gas station was to see if you could see the McCann, right, the Porsche McCann, driving past it on, I think, Route 34 to see which route the McCann took, correct?
Well, we pull video to see if there's anything of relevance, first of all. But second of all, that would have been once we pulled it, that would have been one of the things we were looking to ascertain was if we could see the vehicle.
Okay, and you didn't see the McCann on the BP gas station video, correct?
The video was not of clarity that I would be able to tell any video, but I did not see anything that I felt was consistent with it, no.
Okay. There was nothing, in your opinion, of evidentiary value, correct?
On that camera, no.
But there were cars driving past the gas station
There
during
was.
this relevant time frame, right?
There was.
Okay. And those cars were not of interest to you, tell me if I'm wrong, those cars were not of interest to you because they didn't appear to look like they can? Or is there some other reason why those cars were not of interest to you?
I did not see any car that resembled the Porsche Macan.
And like you said, in the videos we do have of 867, we don't suddenly see like headlights or anything like that, right?
I did not see anything on that video when I reviewed it.
When you reviewed it, right? So if you don't see headlights and the car's driving, would you agree that that would either mean you can't see it on the video, or the car had to stop before then?
Objection, speculation.
It is. Because there's more ways than just those two.
Are there other ways that, what other ways are there?
Ways for what, ma'am?
I'm not sure.
Come on up. I'll tell you exactly what I meant. First of all, I apologize to juror number 5 because I know how much you hate that.
Thank you.
I apologize. Number 2, the only thing that I ask, I realize it gets boring when we're at the sidebar, but everything's being picked up, so if you guys are too loud, then I don't know if they're picking up everything the way that they should be here. So I just ask if you don't mind. You can chat, I get it. Just if you guys can just keep it down for me a little bit, I'd really appreciate that. All right. With that being said, Ms. Mastellone, I'm going to allow you to rephrase your question.
Okay. Tell me if I'm wrong. Your investigation, right, pursuant to your investigation where there's video of this vehicle that you deem relevant, right, because it arrives in the area at a specific time, and you Google mapped it, the investigative belief is that the vehicle is somewhere in this area at that time, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, moving on to 15 Willowbrook area. There was no 911 call ever placed that night from 15 Willowbrook, correct?
From 51? No.
Right. Like, in other words, there was no 911 call that originated from Pete's phone, correct?
No.
No 911 call that ever originated from Jennifer's phone,
No.
and neither of the children either, correct?
No.
But you've been to 15 Willowbrook, correct?
I have.
And you're familiar with the layout, right? Of the area?
Of the area? Yes.
And of like the general area of the house?
Yes.
And so we've seen photos, and perhaps you'd agree that the master bedroom has like a sliding glass door.
I don't remember the sliding glass door specifically, but I wouldn't argue with you.
Do you recall that there's like a balcony outside of the master bedroom on the second floor?
Actually, I don't without seeing a picture of it.
Do you recall whether the master bedroom is essentially right over the area of where Keith Caneiro's was found? Can I?
Where Keith's body was found in the yard?
Yes.
No.
I'm showing what's been already published as D1-283. Lieutenant, do you recognize this area that I'm pointing to? It's the the sliding glass door in the second floor as the master bedroom of the house?
I believe you are correct, yes.
Okay. And I misspoke. I meant, so there were shell casings found approximately in this area here?
No.
No.
The shell casings were found further up to you're essentially looking at the southwest corner of the house. The shell casings were found to the northwest.
Can you see in the photograph where the shell casings were found?
No.
You can't see it at all?
No.
Okay. Either way, there were no 911 calls placed that night, correct?
From this residence? No.
Yeah, that's what I meant. And Jennifer Caneiro, her phone was never found, correct?
Correct.
And so obviously the information from it was never extracted.
Correct.
And we know that there was a lot of sifting through debris in this case. There was removal of debris and more sifting, extensive searches, and the phone was never located, correct?
It was not.
Now, obviously, if we had the phone, right, if we were able to do an extraction, there's a lot of information that could have been learned, right?
From the phone.
Objection, speculation.
I'll rephrase the question.
Yeah, let's, please.
We know generally a phone extraction contains a lot of information about the phone, correct? Just generally.
It generally contains information.
Right.
I don't know.
We heard testimony. It can contain text messages and calls and internet searches and applications and when it's in use and things of that nature, right?
Potentially, if it's able to be extracted, yes.
Right. If there's a successful extraction, there's categories of information that could be learned, right?
Potentially, yes.
Okay. And without the phone, you obviously can't do that, right?
No.
But what you can do is you can subpoena or get a warrant or something for phone records, correct?
We could, yes.
And phone records do not provide as much information as an extraction would, right?
Not even close.
Not even close, okay. But what it does tell us, right, is more basic information, like when calls are placed, when calls are received, when text messages are sent, and when text messages are received, correct?
It does, yes.
Like, it doesn't give you, it might not give you the content, but it'll give you this basic timeline of information,
If they're
right?
if those messages are using self-connection, yes, versus data connection.
Okay, and there's also applications that wouldn't register in a phone record, correct?
Correct.
For example, if you're using WhatsApp, right, that's not going to show up in your Verizon, T-Mobile, or AT&T phone records, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so my only point is that phone records contain records of when a text message, normal text messages, are sent and received, as well as phone calls, correct?
Yes.
But also, you can obtain cell site information, correct?
Yes.
And what that means is that if the phone is being used or not necessarily actively used, but if it's receiving information, if there's data, like if a text message is received or a phone call is received, that can bounce off of a cell tower, correct?
If the phone is powered on and in proper working order, you can get cell tower information.
Okay, right. Let's agree that the phone would have to be on,
Yeah.
right? And if the phone is on, phone records can be helpful because they can tell us the general vicinity of where the phone is, correct?
It gives you cell tower information.
It doesn't tell you the exact location of the phone,
No.
right? But if a phone, it can tell you whether a phone is perhaps in a totally different town or a few towns over, correct?
If it's hitting off, whatever tower it's hitting off, it would tell you where that tower is, yes.
Right, like generally speaking.
Yes.
It's like there's like a circle or a U around the area, right? Something to that effect.
Yes.
Okay. And so in this case, though, phone records for Jennifer Caneiro's phone were never obtained, correct?
They were not.
So we don't know whether the phone was on or off, right?
As I sit here, no,
And we don't know whether the phone traveled anywhere, correct?
I don't know.
And we also know that Jennifer Caneiro's phone was not found at Mr. Paul Caneiro's house, right?
It was not.
And since we're on the topic of applications of text messaging type applications that aren't your traditional text message, you did have the opportunity to review Keith Caneiro's cell phone extraction, correct?
I did.
And so you know that Keith Caneiro had a variety of chat applications on his phone that were not traditional text messaging, correct?
I know he had WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger. That's only two that, off the top of my head, I recall.
Okay, and I can show you this if it'll refresh your recollection, but I can try asking you and maybe you'll remember. If not, I'll show it to you. Do you recall that he also had Snapchat?
I don't recall seeing that.
Okay, I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna show you what's being marked as D127. Can I approach?
Sure.
Do you recognize this as a Celebrate extraction report?
I do.
Okay. I'm just going to have you flip through it. Okay. So does that help refresh your recollection that on Keith Caneiro's Google phone, because he didn't have an iPhone, right?
He did not.
He had like the Google-based phone.
He had a Google phone, yes.
On his phone, he had Snapchat, which is listed as number 2 on the front page.
Well, I don't actually see anything that indicates, other than that it's a Google Android generic extraction report, I don't see anything specific to Keith Caneiro on this report.
So when you pull an extraction report, it doesn't always give you that information on the face page, does it? I can pull up the actual extraction if that'll help. Or do you want to accept that that's his phone?
I've always seen that front page, and then there's other content that, you can determine. I'm just telling you from what I see right here, there's nothing on here that specifically says this is Keith Caneiro's extraction report.
I understand it doesn't say that. I can pull up the actual extraction on my laptop for you to view, if that'll make you feel more comfortable. Or do you want to accept that this is from his phone?
I accept it, I'm just letting you know that I don't actually see anything.
Okay, but it does say Google Android phone at the top, or
It does.
generic, right? And we know that he was the individual in this case that had the Google phone, right?
Correct.
Okay, so he had Snapchat, right?
That is an application, yes.
And he had Instagram. That's number 4.
Yes.
And he had, looks like, Google Hangouts, right?
Yes.
Google Plus.
Yes.
we flip to the next page, the following page, is Google Duo.
Yes.
It's number 11.
Yes.
Number 12 is, he has Signal,
Yes.
and number 13 is WhatsApp,
Yes.
and then it looks like number 14 is just like it's just called Messenger,
Yes.
and 16 is Google Hangouts.
Yes.
Okay. So can we agree, and obviously you had the opportunity to look at Keith Caneiro's phone, correct?
I did.
But these are examples of messaging applications that would be, at least some of these would be encrypted, correct?
Some of them are, yes.
Like when you go on the extraction, you can't see the messages from WhatsApp, right?
No, I believe you can.
On Keith Caneiro's phone.
Yes.
What about Signal? Can you see the messages from Signal?
I don't know, but I also don't remember seeing any messages on his phone with Signal either.
Okay. So, if Detective Maglisi testified that we don't have that information, is he wrong, or are you certain that this information is on Keith's phone?
That there's WhatsApp information?
Like the actual content of these messages?
There was chats that I believe I saw on WhatsApp.
Okay. Can we agree that there are messaging applications on his phone that we don't have the content of those messages?
I can say that I don't recall seeing any Snapchat or Signal or anything like that.
Okay. So if those applications were in use, right? If Signal or WhatsApp or Snapchat, for example, were in use during the relevant time frame, we wouldn't know what was said.
I don't know that for sure.
You don't know whether we would know what was said?
Objection asked and answered.
Can we come on up, please? I'll give you. Make sure I didn't forget. All right, we're ready to continue. Ms. Mastellone, when you're ready.
Lieutenant, you do recall that cell phone extractions sometimes take a little while to load, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so while Keats is loading, I'm going to ask you about Katie Caneiro's cell phone extraction.
Okay.
So Katie is Mr. Caneiro's daughter, correct?
Yes.
And the morning of November 20th, 2018, right, you weren't at 27 Tilton, correct?
I was not.
But you were made aware who was there, right, as far as Mr. Paul Caneiro and his family?
Yes.
Okay. And in Katie's cell phone extraction, which you said you reviewed the relevant time frames of like November 20th, right?
I reviewed a portion of her phone, yes.
Okay. So in her call log for the morning of November 20th, 2018, between the hours of 9:37 a.m. and 12:53 p.m., so we're talking about a little more than a 3-hour time frame, Katie Caneiro placed 21 phone calls to either Keith or Jennifer Caneiro, correct?
I don't know that for sure. I would have to look at the extraction to say for sure.
Okay, I'm going to approach with what's been marked as D128. And do you recognize that document as an extraction report?
Yes.
Okay. And in this report, if you want to read through it, it has, you can see the context of who's being called and who's calling, correct?
To and from, yes.
Right, so for example, you can see calls to Aunt Jen, and you can see calls to Uncle Keith's home, right? You can see those calls being placed.
Yes.
Okay. And would you accept my representation that there's 21 total calls? Or do you want to count them?
Again, there's no details because it just says outgoing or missed. It doesn't have the actual other side of it, so it says who it's going to. So once again, you're saying that this is Paul's daughter's phone, but
Right, so are you
There's nothing-
disagreeing that it's Paul's daughter's phone? How about this? Do you see an entry? It's number 8 on the first page,
okay.
and it says the call is from Dad,
Yes.
okay? And the phone number is Paul Caneiro's phone number, right?
Yes.
Okay. So if it says, if you did phone extractions for Paul's daughters, and in this extraction log, there's a call from Dad, and it's Paul Caneiro, does that help you recall that this is a phone extraction from one of his daughters?
Yes.
Okay. The other alternative is I could pull up her phone extraction as well. So do you want to accept that this is Katie Caneiro's phone extraction?
I will trust that it is.
Okay. And will you also accept my representation that between 9:37 a.m. and 12:53 p.m., there was a total of 21 calls placed to either Keith Caneiro or Jennifer Caneiro?
Without counting them, I would trust that what you're saying is accurate.
So that's 21 calls within a little more than a 3-hour time period, correct?
Yes.
Now, we know that there were text messages sent from Keith's phone between 3:14 a.m. and 3:18 a.m., correct?
Yes.
And those messages were sent to Paul.
Yes.
And those are regular text messages, so we have them, we know they exist, right?
Yes.
And you've seen them.
Yes.
And one of those text messages indicates that, it's in evidence, we've seen them, that Keith is telling Paul, my power is out, and I'm going to go check the generator, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And we also know that Keith is found outside on his lawn, right?
Yes.
And we know that there were gunshots at approximately 3:30 in the morning, correct?
I believe this report said they were around 3:26, but yes.
Okay, we'll get to that. Approximately 3:30 in the morning, maybe including 3:26. There's gunshots, right?
Yes.
So the belief is that Mr. Keith Caneiro was shot at approximately that time, right? On the front lawn.
Yes.
And so there's text messages coming from his phone at around between 3:14 and 3:18 a.m. And then we hear the gunshots at approximately 3:30-ish, right? And he's also in the clothes that he's found in, he's fully dressed, correct?
Yes.
Right, he's wearing like a windbreaker, right?
Yes.
Jacket and a hoodie. Is a hood up?
Yes.
And he had keys and a wallet,
Yes,
and he's wearing pants,
yes,
sneakers. And we also know that Paul's phone was plugged in at his house during this time frame, correct?
yes,
And we know that not just because of the extraction that was performed by Detective Migliarese, but you were personally in contact with Detective Hauger from the FBI, correct?
yes,
And they confirmed that the phone was never left Paul Caneiro's house that night.
Special Agent Hager said that his phone was connected to a femtocell, basically a personal cell site, from 3:07 in the afternoon until 4:57 in the morning.
And what that means is sometimes when a person has bad cell phone service, the carrier provides them with like their own little self-service.
It's my understanding, yes.
Okay, that's what Detective Hauger explained. And one of the things that was found in this case, in the backpack of the Cayenne, right, was what's called a FLIR, correct?
Yes.
You testified about it at the grand jury, right?
Yes.
You're familiar with it.
I know what it is. I wouldn't necessarily say I'm familiar with it, but
If you know what it is, you're familiar with what it is, right?
I've never used it, is my point.
Okay. But you know what it is. So you know that it is, the FLIR is, it's like an external application where you plug it into your phone and then you can see like thermal imaging, correct?
From what I understand, yes.
I'm just going to show what I believe is already been published as D1 329. Okay. You've seen this before, correct?
I don't believe I have, no.
Oh, okay. So you haven't seen all of the evidence in this case? You haven't seen the items that were seized from Mr. Caneiro's?
No, as I testified earlier, I've seen some of the evidence in this case, but not every individual piece. I'm aware that this was located, but I don't believe I ever physically saw it.
And you're aware that this piece that sticks out here is what plugs into the phone?
It would make sense to me, yes.
Okay. So can we agree you need a phone to use it?
I would agree, yeah. But I also don't know if it would be any phone either. I don't know if you need to have cell service to it or anything along those lines.
You need a phone.
I would say a device, yes. I don't know if it connects to an iPad, AirPod, any of those things, or an old phone or anything like that. I guess my point is I don't know if you actually need a working cellular phone in order to use that device.
Okay. You need something.
You need something.
It's not something that you attach to a gun, for example, is my point.
No.
Or that you can, it's not like goggles, like it's not like you're wearing them on your head and you can see.
Look like you could do that.
You testified on direct about, the Nest cameras, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you subpoenaed, or was it a subpoena or a warrant?
That was a search warrant.
A search warrant, okay. You got a warrant for the various Nest cameras at Keith Caneiro's house, correct?
Yes.
And you got a response from them,
Yes.
and they provided cameras for the inside of the house. They provided videos for the inside of the house, but not the one from outside?
They provided the response to our search warrant, and that's what they provided, was clips from inside the house. Yes.
Right, they did not provide any clips from outside the house.
They did not.
Okay. Did you ever follow up with them to ascertain if it was something that was missed or overlooked, or see if you could get the clips from outside the house?
Their response was that they sent us what they had pursuant to our search warrant.
Okay. That was their initial response, right?
As far as I know, that was the only response.
Okay, because there was no follow-up after that, right?
No, they sent us what they had.
Okay, and you accepted it?
Yes.
So I'm going to publish, it's been marked as D1-422.
Any objection?
No, Judge.
This is a notification from Nest to Keith Caneiro, kcaneiro@gmail.com, where it indicates that his side door camera is offline and it was disconnected at 2:52 a.m., correct?
Yes.
Okay, so we do know that the camera was working, right?
Yes.
Now, in all of the surveillance video that you've reviewed outside of 27 Tilton itself, right? So you reviewed video from the area of 27 Tilton from a couple of neighbors' houses, right? I think it was 19 Oxford was one of them.
I looked at 19 Oxford, yes, and Green Grove. I believe there's one more.
And then there's video from 15 Willowbrook, from 44 Willowbrook.
44 and 85, yes.
44 and 85. And then there's also the Wise video that we saw today from Keith's house, correct?
Yes.
Now, in none of those videos can you actually see let's start with the area of 27 Tilton, right? We have videos of the car leaving the area, right?
Yes.
But you can't see who's driving the car. You can't see who's in the car, right?
No.
And you can't see, people around Mr. Caneiro's house getting into the car or anyone getting into the car. You can't see it. It's
No.
too dark, right?
Correct.
Okay. And the videos that we have near the area of 15 Willowbrook, once again, quality's not great. You can't see who's driving that car, right?
No.
And we saw the video today. You can see it's a person, right? You can see it's a figure. But it's through the frosted garage door, right?
Correct.
We heard in the jail calls first call that we heard was from December 5th, correct?
I believe that was the date.
And that's approximately 1 week after Mr. Caneiro was charged in this case with the murders of his family and the arsons, correct?
Approximately, yes, 6 days.
Okay, so he's calling the office, right, in Asbury Park, and he's speaking to the office manager, Tiffany Rivera.
Yes.
And just one moment. We heard in, I believe it was that call, that Corey was involved, he was like getting involved in the businesses, right?
He was helping run the business at that time, yes.
Okay. Corey wasn't an owner of the businesses, right?
As far as I know, no.
As far as you know, because you investigated the case, the businesses were owned by Paul and by Keith, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So, from the call, we know that Corey is now at the business with Tiffany Rivera, and he's orchestrating things related to the business.
Yes.
And we also know that in one of these calls, he's speaking to his wife, Susan, right?
Yes.
And there's a point in the call where he says they're having a conversation, and he says he only has an hour, right?
Yes.
During the course of the conversation, she says, you have to shower during your free hour, and Paul says, yeah, do everything on my free hour, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And so these phone calls that he's making, it's during his hour, right?
At least that particular one.
Okay. And he's talking to his wife, right? And yes.
Yes.
And he's checking in with Tiffany Rivera at the business, right?
Yes.
And he's trying to gauge what's happening, right, with the business.
Yes.
When it comes to Corey Caneiro, you were aware that Corey had knowledge of the trust, right?
Sorry, say that one more time.
With respect to Corey Caneiro, you're aware, through your investigation, that Corey Caneiro had knowledge of the trust.
I'm aware that Corey had knowledge of the trust at some point. I don't know when he learned of the trust.
At some point prior to November 20th.
I don't know what his knowledge of that trust was.
So I'm not asking you what his knowledge was. I'm just asking you to confirm that you were aware through your investigation prior to November 20th that Corey Caneiro had knowledge of the trust, that he had just had knowledge of it.
I think that's safe to say, yes. He was on emails that were forwarded that referenced the trust, so I believe he had some knowledge of the trust.
Right. So in other words, what you're referencing, we've heard testimony about this. Keith Caneiro, there's messages between Keith and Paul, and Keith forwards about the trust, and Keith forwards them to Corey, correct?
Right. Yes.
You also saw the WISE videos in this case?
I did.
And you know, based on your review, that after Keith speaks to Paul that night, he then calls Corey and relays to him some substance of the conversation with respect to Paul and the trust, right?
Yes.
Okay. And with respect to Corey, you never did an extraction of his cell phone, correct?
I did not.
And there was no search of his computers or electronic devices or anything like that?
There was not.
There was no review of his finances?
There was not.
However, you were aware during the course of your investigation that with respect to the trust, right, that Corey was a beneficiary, right?
At some point, I learned that both him and Paul were beneficiaries of the trust.
Well, when you say at some point, you testified about it at the grand jury, correct?
Yes.
And that was in February of 2019, correct?
Yes.
A few months after this is happening, within the first few months of your investigation.
Yes.
You knew this information.
Certainly by February, I can't remember exactly when I learned of the trust.
My question wasn't exactly when, sir. My question was simply, at some point, let's say within the first few months of your investigation, because you testified about it under oath in February, you knew that Corey was a 50% beneficiary, correct?
Yes.
And we're talking by February of 2019, right?
Yes.
Okay. And despite that, and when we say a beneficiary, we're talking about the life insurance policy worth $3 million, correct?
It's my understanding that's what it was. Yes.
And despite that, there was no further investigation to follow that money, correct?
No, there was not.
Okay. And you also did have information in the course of your investigation that Corey was experiencing financial distress, correct?
I do not know what Corey's financial situation was before, and I don't know what it is now.
Did you, when you say you don't know, you are aware that there was a phone extraction done of Elisa Caneiro, correct?
Objection. This was asked and answered.
Come on up.
Sir, did you review Elisa Caneiro's phone extraction?
A portion of it.
Okay, when you say a portion of it, are you talking about a specific time frame? Are you talking about a specific application? And I don't want you to tell me what you read. I don't want, that's hearsay. I just want to know generally what you looked at. Was it an application when you say a portion? Was it a time frame?
Specifically, it was the day of the 19th and the 20th.
The 19th into the 20th. Okay. So when you say the 19th into the 20th, you're talking about you review text messages?
Typically, I would do the timeline, because there's a feature in Cellbrite that allows you to go to a specific timeline.
So everything?
It brings up everything in for that day. Basically, if you jump from a text message to a web search to a phone call, whatever, it's literally the timeline of what your phone's doing. That's usually what I do in a situation like this, and that's what I did here. I just went to the timeline and scrolled through the timeline to see what was occurring that day.
Okay, so let's back up. So we talked about how in a cell phone extraction, there's a lot of information that can be learned, right? Because there's text messages between that person who owns the phone and as many people as they're talking to for as long as they've had that, the data is kept in the phone, correct?
Yes.
I mean, cell phone extractions can be years worth of information, right?
Sure.
They can, just as an example, if you extracted a phone in 2026, you might get information dating back to 2015, like 10 years ago.
Theoretically, yeah.
Right. So there's a lot of data in the phone. There's a lot of messages. There can be a lot of phone calls, right?
Yes,
And in a cell phone extraction, unlike cell phone records, you can view the content of the text messages, right? You can see what is said.
yes,
And you also can see photographs, right?
you can,
You can see videos, right?
you can.
Sometimes people have, like, they have documents kept in their phone, correct?
Yes,
Some people do, right?
sure, yes,
And there's like a notes application, right? You can see a variety of applications in the person's phone that may or may not be using.
yes,
You can even see location data, for example, right?
You can.
There's a lot of information to be learned.
correct. yes.
Okay, and you're telling us that in this case, the only 2 days that you looked at in the entirety of Elisa Caneiro's phone was on the 19th and the 20th of November of 2018, those 2 days only.
My scrolling through her phone, that was what I focused on because that was the relevant portion to this investigation.
Okay, you decided that was the relevant portion to this investigation, correct?
I did.
And do you know let me just phrase it this way. Because you did not look past November 19th and 20th of 2018, you don't know what's in the rest of that phone.
I did not go through the phone in its entirety. No.
And you also, so in addition to not extracting Corey Caneiro's phone, not searching his devices or reviewing his finances, there was no search of his home, correct?
No, definitely not.
No search of his vehicles, correct?
No,
And there was no, we talked about this earlier, there's no recorded interview of Corey Caneiro as far as a video or audio or anything like that, right?
no. The initial interview that I did was in Bethlehem PD, and that was just an interview, not recorded. And then the second was memorialized, though, on a type statement.
And you never, obviously, I think you never obtained his DNA, correct?
No,
When you interviewed him, you never asked him any questions about the trust at all.
not as far as anything other than forwarding me the emails. That was the only discussion of the trust.
Right. And
Again, at that point, I didn't even know about a trust.
okay. What you're telling us is Corey Caneiro forwarded you some emails related to Keith and Paul and the trust, correct?
At my request, yes.
Okay, at your request.
Yes.
And when you say at your request, but you learned of them, right? Before you requested them.
During the course of my interview with Corey in Bethlehem Police Department,
I don't want you to tell us what was said,
No.
because that's hearsay. The question is simply, obviously, you can only request of something that you learn of, right?
that's what I was going to say. During the interview, I learned of these emails, requested, he forwarded them to me, and he did right away.
Okay. And you learned about them from Corey, obviously, because you're talking to him.
Yes.
Okay. And other than that, there were no additional, that was not a topic of conversation with Corey Caneiro. You didn't ask him anything else about the trust.
No, those emails and
It's just a yes or no. There was no other conversation about that, right?
Jack, he's asked the question, he's trying to explain.
Yeah. I think we should give the witness the opportunity to answer. I didn't think it was a yes or no, but if you frame the question with a yes or no at the end and he doesn't answer it that way, I agree with you, Ms. Mastellone, in the future.
Sir, the question is simply, other than those emails, there was no other further questioning to Corey Caneiro about the trust, about his knowledge of the trust, or anything related to the trust.
at that point, no.
And you were at 15 Willowbrook earlier that day, correct?
Yes,
At Keith's house. And you got there at approximately, what, 1:30 you said?
145?
1:45. You never saw Corey there that day, right?
No,
And to your knowledge, he was not there.
to my knowledge, no.
So, in this case, we know that there's two different weapons used, correct?
Yes,
There's a firearm and then there's a knife, right?
correct.
Obviously not the same. And we also know that there's information about two people outside of Mr. Paul Caneiro's house at 4:30 in the morning, correct?
So that information you're talking about from Miss Cat?
And Jonathan Harrington.
I'm aware of that information.
Okay. And were you aware that did you look at the jeans in this case that were found in the basement?
I saw them initially, and then I saw them once again when they came back from the lab.
Okay. And were you aware, or was it ever your impression that there was actually two pairs of jeans?
No.
And we also know that it's suspected that the McCann was used, right? That vehicle.
Yes.
I mean, we have the videos, right?
Yes.
There's no blood in that car, right?
There was no blood found, but the canine did hit in the back of the car.
Well, you didn't visually observe any blood, right?
I did not know.
And you didn't perform any confirmatory testing to see if there was any blood.
I wouldn't do that anyway, but no.
When you say you wouldn't do it,
That would be our forensics that would do that.
okay. But when you're collaborating and you're talking and you're coordinating with all of the different investigators in the investigation team, did it ever dawn on you that, perhaps that's something you'd want to know? Because can we agree that canines are often right, but not 100% of the time?
Objection.
Yeah, it's sustained.
Okay.
Okay,
I'll
go ahead.
rephrase it. Canines are a locating tool, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And so oftentimes you do confirmatory testing with a lab, right? You do DNA, trace evidence, things of that nature.
I don't do any of that, but forensics and the lab do test things, yes.
Okay. Right. When I say you, I mean universal you. So law enforcement, investigators, generally, that's something that they would normally do, right?
Test evidence?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So in this case, did you ever at any point say to the forensic guys to vote, to Catalona, to your supervisors, to any of the investigators on the team, hey, we haven't observed blood in this car, we don't see anything, we tried with a light, we tried with the Blue Star, can we test it for DNA?
Judge, objection. They said they did test it.
It was my recollection that they actually did test it, but it came back as nothing. But it's the jury's recollection that controls as it relates to that issue. If you know, Mr.
I'm sorry,
Lieutenant, go ahead.
can you repeat that one more time?
Go ahead.
Lieutenant, I'm gonna clarify my question. The canine hit on the back of the car, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'm talking about the inside of the car. That's what I meant. So the inside of the car, right? There was no blood.
Not that I'm aware of.
And when I say there's no blood, I mean it wasn't visually observed, right?
Correct.
It was processed with various forensic tools like USAR and light technology.
I don't know specifically what they did, but that would make sense.
And it was never tested. It was never like swabbed and tested for DNA or anything like that, right?
I don't know what they did as far as testing. I wouldn't be able to sit here and say specifically what they did or didn't do.
And the and the back area, the license plate that was tested was negative.
That's my understanding, yes.
Okay. So even though the canine hit, it was still negative.
The canine hit in the back part of the car. I wouldn't be able to testify what the canine hit on or didn't hit on. If it was residual odor, if it was something specific, I don't know.
Okay. My only
I
point
wasn't
is
there, and I'm not the canine handler, so.
no, you're just the lead investigator. And my only point is there was no blood in the car, right?
As far as I know, no.
And when you say that you reviewed the evidence in this case, some of it, did you ever, you said you looked at the pants,
Yes,
the pair of pants that was sent to the lab and they,
the jeans.
right, that pair of jeans with the blood on them, right?
Yes,
And you're aware that they were able to determine the size of the pants?
I am.
Okay. And Judge, can we approach?
Sure. Ladies and gentlemen, there's just a piece of evidence that I want to look at before you get a chance to look at it. So let's do our mid-afternoon break right now. I apologize, we're running a little bit late on that. I'm hoping to keep you right on the tight window, but it'll be somewhere around 3:45, maybe a little bit before. Thank you all. Please don't discuss this case or do any research. We lost our witness.
He's tired, he ran away. Never mind.
Okay, we addressed that issue outside the presence of the jury. We now have the jury back in the room. Ms. Mastellone, you can continue.
Sir, I just want to go over a timeline with you,
Okay.
okay? So, if we can start, maybe just like half of them, maybe. At 2:07 a.m., that's when we...
Let me stop you for 1 second. Can you just turn off the portrait one? Yep, that one, right there. You got it. That turns off that light. Go ahead.
So, at 2:07 a.m., that's when we see the vehicle leaving 27 Tilton, correct? On surveillance video.
Yes.
Okay. And at at approximately 2:27, we see the vehicle arrive in the area at 15 Willowbrook, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And we saw the videos today of at approximately 2:35 a.m. is when we see the light appear outside of the garage, and we see like the silhouette of a person.
Correct.
Okay. And there's some back and forth, right? We see the figure go one way, and then the person goes the other way. We hear some noises, things of that nature, right?
Subject goes to the side of the electrical panel first, to the generator, back to the electrical panel,
In the direction of, right?
in the direction.
And we know that at the video stops, I think it's 59 milliseconds. So in other words, 2:51.
251.
And that's when the video ends, and it's not just the video we saw, it's when all of the cameras stop working, right?
Yes.
And between 2:35 and 2:51, like we mentioned, we see the person's just going, he's just in the area outside of the garage, right?
Going back and forth from either side, yes.
And at 2:52 a.m., Verizon alerts of that there's a loss of power to the ONT, correct?
Now, the first alert at 2:52 for Verizon was loss of power to the ONT, yes. And then
Now, that coincides with the 2:51, right? Essentially, power's lost.
yes,
Like, the video stops working, and now there's a loss of power to the house, right?
following the subject going back and forth outside, yes.
I'm not disagreeing with you, sir. I'm just asking what happened at 2:52, okay?
Yes.
So, we also know that between 3:14 and 3:18 a.m., that's when the text messages are sent from Keith's phone to Paul's phone, correct?
Correct.
Also, at 3:18 a.m. is when we know that Robert Block, who works at Square One, the business is alerted that the servers are down.
Correct.
know that at approximately 3:30 a.m., whether it's, so we know that dispatch recorded the receiving the call at 3:33, correct?
Yes.
And we know that the dispatch reported that the gunshots were heard at 3:31, correct?
No, I would disagree with that. The time of the call was 3:31. The time of the dispatch was 3:33.
Okay.
There's-
Okay. We know that it was approximately 3:30 a.m., right?
That the call was made. Yes. Well, that's the call, but the gunshots, I would put, if you're building the timeline, I would do 3:26 for the time of the gunshots, because that's what time Mr. Kapoor estimated he heard the gunshots.
So, Mr. Kapoor reported that he heard the gunshots 1 minute later, correct? That's actually what he reported. That he heard the gunshots and then called 1 minute later. That's what he said.
I believe in Detective Mahoney's report, he says that he heard them at 3:26.
Okay. He said he heard them at 3:26, right? And called 1 minute later at 3:27, correct?
No, I believe he told me when I talked to him that he laid down and kind of thought about it for a minute or two and then called.
Sorry, did you spoke to Dennis Kapoor personally?
Yes,
Or are
Dawn.
you relying on Detective Mahoney's notes?
No, both. I met with Mr. Kapoor during trial prep, which I did the report on.
Okay, that was recently, right?
Yes.
Okay. Can we agree that memories are better closer in time to the event than they are present day? And we're talking about a 7-year time period?
Yes, and I believe in Detective Mahoney's report that was taken that time, it was 3:26.
Yes. And he reports that he heard them at 3:26 and called a minute later at 3:27, correct? That's what he reported to Mahoney 7 years ago.
I don't know. I believe he said he heard them at 3:26, laid down for a couple of minutes, and then called. The time of the call was 3:31. Time of the dispatch was 3:33.
You indicated that you're in part relying on what was memorialized by Detective Mahoney, correct?
Correct.
Okay. I'm going to approach with what is marked as S-260. I'm just going to show you this. If you want to read here and there.
3:26, heard shots, called 911, 3:27, a minute later.
Okay, you read it out loud.
Yes.
But basically, he says he heard them at 3:26 and he called a minute later at 3:27. Right?
Yes.
Okay. So he reported a minute later. But dispatch received the call at 3:31, like you just testified to, correct?
Correct.
So if he's mistaken and a minute later is 3:31 and 3:33, then that is a plausible timeline, right? And I'm not saying that is the timeline, but that would make sense, right?
Objection.
What's your objection?
Speculative as to what would make sense. And he just testified to what he knows.
Yeah, he can only testify as to what he knows. I mean, I think it's clear to the jurors at this point in time that he's saying that he called at 3:26 and it was 1 minute later. Or that he heard the shots at 3:26 and the call was 1 minute later. Whether he's right or wrong, that's not for this detective to say that's for the jurors to decide. So,
You do have familiarity with how dispatch works, correct?
I do.
And when a call is received by dispatch, they report it immediately, right?
No, that's not true. This was a 911 call. The dispatch actually has to call. There's always a delay. The dispatch has to call, receive the call, answer the call, get the information, and then they entered it into Spillman, which is the computer-aided dispatch. So time of the call is 3:31. The time they generate the call in Spillman, which is the CAD system, is 3:33.
Right.
Because somebody has to call, answer, talk to them, get the information, then enter the screen.
Okay, let me clarify. When I say immediately, I mean within a minute or two,
For
right?
sure, yes.
Okay. What I mean to say is dispatch isn't receiving the call at 3:20 and waiting 10 minutes to relay it, right? It's going to be, that's their job, right? To relay the information as efficiently as possible because it could be an emergency and people are relying on them, right?
Of course.
Okay. So regardless of whether it was 3:26 or 3:27 or 3:31 or 3:33, can we agree it was approximately 3:30 a.m.? If it makes you feel better, I can write 3:27 possibly as well, okay? For the gut shots.
I would put 3:26, but okay.
No problem. Sometime between 3:26 and 3:31, there's gut shots.
Yes.
Okay? Now, at 3:42 is when the Verizon fiber optic line or the Verizon Fios optical network terminal goes out, correct?
3:43 is the last alert. 3:42, I believe, if you look at it closely, it's like 3:42 and 50-something seconds. It's hard to read, but yes.
So when you testified at the grand jury and you said that there was a loss of AC power to the optical network terminal at 3:42, that the Verizon advised that the Fios optical network terminal went out at about 3:42 a.m. When you testified to that, are you disagreeing with that, or is that
Said
correct?
about 3:43.
Okay. Now, when at 3:42, about 3:42 a.m., what that means is that the fiber optic line appeared to have been cut, correct?
The fiber optic line was cut, but I wouldn't be able to say that that's the exact time. I don't know if there's a delay in the notification to Verizon as far as, how their system works specifically. So I wouldn't necessarily be able to sit here and say that that's the exact time that the line was cut.
But at about 3:42 a.m. is when the fiber optic line was cut, correct?
That's the time that Verizon made a note, or they got an alert, that the fiber optic went offline.
And that's also you testified to under oath, correct?
Yes,
At the grand jury.
yes.
You testified, and at about 3:42 a.m. is when that fiber optic line appeared to have been cut. Is that correct? And you say correct. So you testified under oath that at about 3:42 a.m. is when it appeared that the line was cut. Do you disagree with your testimony?
No, about 3:42, but I don't know if it's exactly at 3:42 is the moment that it was cut, but about, yes.
And you said it was like 3:52 and closer to 3:53 or something. Did you testify to that?
No.
So at 3:48, is when the vehicle leaves the area of Willowbrook, correct?
Approximately, yes.
When you reviewed the Wise video footage, did you tell us earlier what time frame you reviewed?
I don't believe I did.
Do you recall?
Oh, for that specific clip I did. But you're talking in general?
In general, what did you review starting at like 2 a.m., that relevant time frame?
I did.
Do you recall hearing at 2:15 a.m. that there was a car alarm going off?
On the garage cam?
Yes.
I do not recall hearing that.
It's actually from the sun porch view. Did you review video from the sun porch view?
I did, but I don't recall specifically the times that I did.
Can I just have this table? make sure my sound's working.
So it's difficult to hear, but let's see if we can hear it.
I'll play it first and then if we can hear it on the timestamp. So I started the video at approximately 2:16 a.m. Did you hear the beeping in the background?
Could you play it one more time?
Sure. Here's what I'm going to do, actually. I'm going to... Okay, so I'm going to start this video, and this one starts at 2:15, okay? And I'm just going to play this.
Okay.
And it's on November 20th, 2018, correct?
Correct.
I was asking a witness.
Oh,
say that.
sorry.
That's all right.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, just making sure.
Okay. We don't hear it in this video. You don't hear anything, do you?
I did not hear it.
Okay, so now I'm going to compare that to the next video, all right?
Okay.
So that's at 2:15. Actually, so I'm at 2:15:52, okay? I'm going to press play. Did you hear how it started to beep?
I did not.
Let's do it one more time. And then I'll play the next clip, which you can hear it. So tell us if you can hear a beeping in this video. And then I think it appears to stop. Did you hear that?
I heard it. I mean, I vaguely heard a noise, but I wouldn't say that was a car alarm.
Okay. do you agree that it was, the original clip at 2:15 was fairly silent, and then we heard some sort of beeping at approximately 2:16?
I heard a noise. I wouldn't even classify it as a beeping. I barely heard a noise.
Okay, did you hear something?
I heard a noise, but
Okay, you heard a noise, but you didn't hear a noise prior to that, right?
I heard a noise at that time.
Okay, and is this anything that you, at the time that you were watching these videos and investigating, was it something that caught your attention, or that you did anything to investigate further?
I could barely hear it now, so I wouldn't even have heard it before.
All right, so now. So, if I could have the first All right. So, at 2:07, between 2:07 and 2:27 is the vehicle is leaving 27 Tilton, and then there's a vehicle that arrives at Willowbrook, correct?
Correct.
And we know that this is approximately 20 minutes, right?
Correct.
And then at from 2:35 to 2:51 is when there's someone outside of the garage area going back and forth from the direction of the electrical meter and the generator, and they're going back and forth, right?
Correct.
And that would be, what, 14 minutes? 16 minutes? You agree? And then from 2:52 until the last text message, let's do it this way. From 2:52 until approximately 3:30, or we'll say 3:26. How long is that?
So you're asking me from, I'm sorry, one more time, from when to when?
From 2:52 until approximately 3:30 a.m., or if you prefer, 3:26.
38 minutes or 34 minutes?
And from approximately 3:26 or 3:30 until 3:42 is how long?
From 3:30 to 3:42?
Sure.
12 minutes.
And then lastly, from 3:42, which is about when the Verizon Fios line is cut, until 3:48 is how long?
6 minutes.
Okay, so we agree on this timeline, correct?
I agree on this timeline, but there's things before and after that I would put on the timeline. If you're building a timeline of the events of that night, the car returning at 4:07.
Okay, we can add that. And that's, what?
I would add additional stuff to it as well. If you're building the timeline, I would start at 1:28 a.m. in 27 Tilton.
Okay. That's fine, but for this timeline, because I'm focusing on when the vehicle leaves, right? The timeline that I'm focusing on is clearly when the vehicle leaves 27 Tilton until, we'll say it arrives back at 27 Tilton, and so 3:40